It is time for the Heroclix Hellfire Gala. You are cordially invited to the wonderful event of the X-Men Hellfire Gala. I am super excited about this product. The figures in here are awesome. I've seen spoilers for them, but we'll go through them on our own right here, right now.
I think the box is the best Heroclix box I've ever seen.
Yeah, this box is super hot. We're gonna ignore the bright green sticker label on it and just look at this thing. It is amazing. This box is so good looking. The premium collection has been unveiled. Let's open it up. Does it slide out? I think it just slides out. How do I get this thing open? Give me my cool Heroclix. The Heroclix box. Oh, it's magnetic locked. Oh,
It's a good ass box.
this is such a cool box. Oh, I love this shit. Now we get to see the cool X-Men in their cool Hellfire Gala 2022 outfits. Because Hellfire Gala is just a yearly event in X-Men comics. So we get the beautiful.
Is that velvet?
No, it's not. It's like red plastic. It's got this thing on the inside is like normal Heroclix plastic. The outside has like a little bit of velvety stuff on it, but I think it's just like, it's like foam plastic almost. It's definitely not velvet. It's foam plastic. So we'll get these guys out real quick. First, we've got Pyro. No, it's Sunfire. Sunfire. This is the one and only Emma Frost, obviously. We've got Rogue, the Femme Fatale. We've got X-23, not as a Doctor Strange. We've got, I believe this is Sync. Yes, Sync, the unique of the set. Very powerful figure. This one is Polaris, Magneto's daughter. She's one of my favorite characters. Of course, we've got Cyclops, and to go with him, we've got probably the best sculpt here, the wonderful, beautiful Jean Grey. So we'll go into their cards, which are all still in this box. If I can figure out how to open it again. Woo! Like this. So they all have cool, not normally sized Heroclix cards. Also, they come with this cool Powers and Abilities card.
That's kind of dope.
I am going to be using this for everything. This is so cool. I, as a big X-Men fan, love this shit. This shit is so fucking cool. So we've got, these are their cards. They're not normal Heroclix cards. Obviously, they're a bit bigger. So storing these things is going to be a bit of a challenge. But, like, I think you could fold it here.
You can.
Yeah, you can fold it, but there's no, like, fold line. If you fold it, then I think they're the right size. But there's no, like, dedicated fold line, and I don't want to damage these, so I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna figure out a way to store them, probably in this bag that it came in. But we will start off with Polaris. All right, so first we've got Polaris here. So obviously everyone here is X-Men. They all have various other keywords on them. Polaris here has X-Factor, X-Men, and Detective. Real name is Lorna Dane, daughter of one of the Magnetos. We can see she's got 2 point lines here, a 75 point and a 40 point line. I think for most of these characters, you're gonna really be wanting to trigger their Hellfire Gala abilities, so their 40 point lines are gonna be where they're seeing the most play. Though on a dedicated Hellfire team, the 75 point line could see play. We've got pretty simple dial, honestly. Force Blast, Energy Shield, Deflections, Outwit, basically the whole way through. But the traded abilities are where they matter. So everybody in this team has the Hellfire Gala traded ability. Once per turn for all characters with this trait, when a friendly character with the X-Men keyword attacks and the attack roll includes exactly 1 5, you may replace the other die with a 5. So this automatically guarantees you a crit on certain characters, like Longshot, which I will be coming up to. But 10s hit basically everything, and you get knockback on all your attacks, basically. They each have an individual high fashion traded ability, and Polaris's is Translucent Silicone Dress. So they all trigger whenever you roll a double 5 when you're attacking with an X-Men. So Polaris's here is, after resolutions, you choose a character within range of Polaris and place that character up to 2 squares away from the square they currently occupy. So you just get to move anybody, ally or enemy. And those 2 squares. And her special attack power here is a big benefit for her. It's telekinesis and telekinesis as free, and when she uses it, she may instead target an opposing character that she hit this turn. That is some crazy good movement. For any X-Men based teams, this figure is going to be a very powerful budget alternative to Venom Magneto with that free telekinesis. We've got flying. She can't carry a million people like Magneto, but she's got Outwit. She's got Force Blast. She's hard to hit from range, similar to that Magneto. And the double 5 rolling for that high fashion trait is going to be very, very useful for manipulating your opponents around. Next up, we've got Sunfire. He's rocking the Marauders, X-Men, and Martial Artist keywords. We've got a bit of a longer dial than Polaris with a 100-point line and a 45-point line. Again, the dials are pretty simple. Got Running Shot, a special attack power into a Pulse Wave, Energy Shield Deflections, and Ranged Combat Expert. On those last couple Pulse Wave clicks are 13 attack Pulse Waves with only a range of 3, but that's still not bad. Again, we got the Hellfire Gala to make our 1/5 attacks be double 5s, and whenever we hit with a double 5, after resolutions, you choose a friendly character with the X-Men keyword within range and line of fire of Sunfire, and deal 1 damage to each opposing character adjacent to the chosen character. So when you double 5, you kind of force trigger one of your allies' X-Men's poison. You give them poison and force trigger, basically. And his special attack power here that we're only getting for 1 click on the low dial. So this might be one of the figures that you're looking for that high dial if this Energy Explosion is useful to you. So he's got Energy Explosion and Sunfire, and adjacent friendly characters with the X-Men keyword can use poison. So this is very powerful. If they run up on you, you just start poisoning them to shit, and then if you're on your Pulse Wave clicks, you just start Pulse Waving them. Notably, this does mean that he functionally has Energy Explosion poison in that click, and he only gives his adjacent X-Men poison. It's not like the Avengers ones or the other ones like that, where it's all like X-Men and also friendly characters. It is only friendly characters who also have the X-Men keyword gain that poison. It's a little xenophobic, but listen, Sunfire, very powerful include. Next up, we've got Sync, our unique set. This dial is a little bit more complicated. We've got a Generation X Sword and X-Men keywords with a sidestep. In going into a stealth, we've got Incapacitate, we've got Willpower the whole way down, which is quite nice, and a special damage power turning into Perplex. He's got a 75-point line and a 40-point line. Notably, everybody we've seen so far has 2 targets. Sync is the first one here with a range of 4 instead of the range of 6. His high fashion trait, Rainbow Jacket with the all-black suit and fedora. You'll love to see it. When he rolls that double 5s, you can, after resolutions, you choose a standard power that any friendly character with the X-Men keyword has on their card. If you did, Sync can use the chosen power until the end of your next turn. They do not have to have that power revealed, and it can be within a trait or a special dial. This is a very powerful copying ability. You can gain access to something like Sunfire's poison, something like Sunfire's Pulse Wave that's later down on his click. Very powerful abilities. Now, granted, it is standard powers, so you don't get to like pick up crazy special stop clicks or anything like that. But if somebody's got Invincible later down on their dial or higher up on their dial and they've been hit off of it, Sync can grab that until the end of your next turn. Pairing with other power copying abilities, they might be able to take that for the whole game or extend that by a couple turns. His special damage power here, which again we're only seeing 1 click of on that low dial, so another figure that you might want to be running on the high clicks, is Perplex. So he does have Perplex the whole way down, but on the top half he's got the special Perplex, which is when Sync uses it to target a friendly character. If that character has the high fashion trait, the next time that character hits this turn, they can use their high fashion trait regardless of the attack result. So this lets you pick any friendly character, including himself, and as long as they hit with their ability, they're triggering as if they had rolled double 5s. They do still have to successfully hit with their attack, but bare minimum, you use this on himself, and you can just pick up any friendly power from a friendly X-Men, or you can use this on some of the later figures for a little bit more of an explosive attack. Forcing those double 5s to resolve, assuming you hit the attack. And if you're perplexing up the attack, you're more likely to hit, so that's even better. Next up, we've got the one, the only, the party thrower herself, Emma Frost. Hellfire Club's Hellion and X-Men are her keywords. We've got, again, quite a long dial at 10 clicks, 6 range, but only 1 target, with a 100-point line and a 45-point line. Again, a fairly simple dial. We've got Sidestep, Pulse Wave, basically the whole way, and Invincible for 7 clicks. That is rough if they do not have Outwit. It turns into Invulnerable, which is a little easier to deal with. But then we've also got a special damage power that turns into Probability Control. She again has the Hellfire Gala trait to replace both single 5s and the double 5s, and when you double 5, after resolutions you choose a friendly character with the X-Men keyword, and that character has Safeguard Outwit until your next turn. Choosing herself to make her own Invincible Unoutwittable makes this character quite a tank for that 100-point line. And looking at that special damage power, we've got Probability Control and Shape Change, so we've got Shape Change in the Invincible, Probability Control the whole dial. And also attack rolls of double 5s made by friendly characters with the X-Men keywords can't be re-rolled or have their dice replaced. This is one of the concerns about the double 5. A mechanic with these guys is that if you do manage to hit your double 5, your opponent just probability controls you and you're out. Or they can use the Mr. Sinister, the Scarlet Witch, any other number of die replacing effects to make it so that actually you did not, in fact, hit your double 5s. So her protecting the double 5s is very, very powerful on that It's just a passive on her damage ability. This figure, I think, is going to show up a decent amount for these Hellfire Gala teams. I feel like she's a little mandatory for a all Hellfire Gala team just to protect those roles on its own, as well as any team built around this mechanic to protect those roles. Next up, we've got the magnificent, the beautiful Jean Grey, Phoenix Force, X Factor, and X-Men for her keywords. She's got 6 range. Again, we don't see a whole lot of range on these figures, but she does have triple targets, and she's the first one with 2 special abilities. We've got a special movement her whole dial and a special defense her whole dial with a precision strike on the attack, and we move from enhancement into empower. Notably, these are split exactly across her dial line of 100 points to 40 points. So if you want to play her on a more range focused team, you can play her at 100 points, or if you want to put her on a melee focused team, you can play her at the 40 point line, and she immediately starts with that empower. She again has the Hellfire Gala ability to replace anything with a 1/5 into 2/5s, and when any friendly character with the X-Men keyword hits and a double 5 was rolled, after resolutions, give an action token to each hit character. This comes up even more with Jean Grey, since she's got that triple targeting 3 damage precision strike. She can just do 1 damage to every single one of her targets. If the double 5 was rolled, you're also doing a free incapacitate. A lot of self-synergy with these characters, I think, is going to be key. You don't want to rely too much on triggering a bunch of other stuff for these guys for them to see the most use, I believe. For her special movement power, we've got Mind Control, and when she uses it after resolutions, deal a hit character damage equal to its printed damage value. We know how much I love Exodus on this channel, and this is a supercharged version of Exodus for carries only. Exodus is a little stronger at taking out squishies because they tend to not have reducers, whereas this Jean Grey is going to have a better time attacking carries who have a 4 printed damage, a 3 printed damage, dealing damage to themselves after they run around hitting their teammates. I really big fan of this Mind Control style ability with a 12 attack on her top dial and even an 11 attack on her lower points for 40 points. Not bad at all. The only thing we're really missing here is a move and attack, which is a little upsetting. Then we've got the special defense power that she's got the whole way down, energy shield deflections, and super senses. This puts her at a 20 super senses for range. Now she does only have a 6 range, but you're mind controlling them, sending them far away. Hopefully they're not range attacking you there. And then with that enhancement on the top dial, the 100-point line, you're laser blasting back for a lot of damage, that's for sure. I'm a big fan of this Jean Grey. I think that special mind control is a very powerful ability that is not to be underestimated. Next up, her partner in Hellfire Crime, we've got Cyclops, X Factor, X Force, and X-Men. He's got a 7 range, which is the highest range we've seen, although 7 from a 6 is not crazy high, and only 1 targeting. Again, a simple dial. I like that on these figures. We've got Running Shot, Penetrating Psychic Blast, a special defense dial, a special defense power, and leadership. This team is definitely needing some leadership. We've got a 100-point line and a 45-point line. And for his high fashion trait, whenever a friendly character with the X-Men hits, if the double 5 is rolled, after resolution, you use any friendly character with the X-Men keyword and remove an action token from that character. This does not need line of sight. This does not need within range. You just pick somebody and you remove a counter from them. If you're noticing, all of these will trigger if you roll a single double 5 and you're running multiple of these characters, and that is when this stuff starts to get out of hand. If you can pretty consistently hit at least a single 5 with some probability controls that are brought from some of the figures on this team, as well as maybe some splashes from other X-Men figures, just hitting 1/5 means you hit a double 5, means you trigger everything. That is the name of the game when building this team, is to try and force those double 5s as much as possible to get as much value as you can out of the figures. For the special defense power, we've got energy shield deflections, and when a friendly character with the X-Men keyword within range is targeted by a range attack, modify their defense +1. This counts himself, and again, does not need line of fire, just range. And again, his range is 7, highest on the team so far. So, a few of these figures already have energy shield deflection, something like the Jean Grey, something like Emma Frost with her 18 invincible could definitely use this +1 defense. Again, it's only versus range, but that will put our Scott up to 21, our Jean Grey up to 21, and keep our team nice and tanked up while we start blasting with those double 5s. Second to last, we've got Rogue here. Keywords are Excalibur, X-Men, and Mystical. Her dial's a little more complicated. She's got Charge into Plasticity and Super Strength, which I'm not a big fan of, into Steel Energy, which I do like a little bit more. We've got a special defense power and close combat expert the entire dial, which means that 12 charge is a 6 range charge for a 13 for 5. That is brutal damage coming out of this character right here. Rogue is known for her power, her strength, and this dial reflects that perfectly. For her high fashion, whenever you roll those double 5s after resolutions, you use a standard power, and until your next turn, hit characters can't use the chosen power. This is not an outwit, so characters that are cosmic or have safeguard or protected outwit can still be turned off by this. It is also applies to all hit characters. They cannot use that standard power. So if you're using somebody like the Jean Grey, who's got triple targets, and using her precision strike with that 12 attack, maybe perplexed up by sync to a 13 attack, and you're hitting those double fives, you can just turn off everybody's charge. Everybody's invincible. Everybody's perplexed. Everybody's outwit. Everybody's probability control. The rogue being able to steal somebody's powers and more just turn it off because you're not really stealing it is crazy powerful. As well as her special defense trait here, Invincible, so she's got Invincible similar to Emma Frost on an 18 for most of her dial, and also friendly characters with the X-Men keyword within 6 squares and line of fire can use Toughness. So this is a little bit harder to line up because you do need that line of fire and they do have to be X-Men, but giving your energy shield deflection guys who are already getting their +1 defense from range attacks thanks to Scott, another reducer on top of that seems very, very useful. Another thing that your opponents are going to have to dedicate outwits to on these characters with very long dials for their points. Everything here doesn't go above 100 points and has 8, 9, 10 clicks on their top dials, meaning they're going to have to dedicate multiple attacks or multiple outwits to kill your characters, while you're turning all the powers off the entire time and slamming them with a 13 for 5 on this rogue with that Invincible. Do very much like this character. The team definitely needed a melee threat since most of the other guys here are ranged, and to back up that melee presence, we've got, of course, last but not least, the new Wolverine, X23, Laura Kinney. X-Force, X-Men, and Martial Artists are her keywords. And again, I like the simple dials here. Make it very easy to pick up and play these figures. Not too much explanation required for new players or fans of X-Men figures. First thing I'm noticing is that hypersonic on a 7 on that top dial, as well as triple targets. She wants to be in the fight, slamming people with her triple target hypersonic, with that combat right reflexes as well, putting her up to a 20, and the penetrating damage on the exploit weakness for a 4 damage on her top dial. For her high fashion ability, whenever a friendly character of the X-Men hits with the double 5s, after resolutions you heal that character 2 clicks. So pairing that with our invincible characters in Emma Frost and Rogue, pairing that with our reducers that Rogue is handing out, the extra 1 defense that Cyclops is handing out, the rollouts that somebody like Jean Grey has. This team is very, very hard to kill. For her special attack ability that she's got her entire dial, of course, it's got to be Blades, Claws, Fangs, but notably, you may use it when targeting more than 1 character, and she must roll a d6 for each hit target. So if you're afraid of low rolling those d6s on that Blades, Claws, Fangs, don't worry, you've got 3 chances to kill these characters. Also, whenever Wolverine hits, after resolutions, heal her 1 click for each opposing character that took damage from that attack. So she is also healing up to 3 if she's maxing out on those targets from that attack, that 12 attack, 4 base damage. You can split that up if you'd like, or go for the Blades, Claws, Fangs with the penetrating damage, healing up 3 clicks after 3 successful attacks, and if it was a double 5, you're doing knockback and you're healing another 2 clicks. Also pairing up that regeneration on the back half with the combat reflexes for most of her dial means that she is going to be very hard to kill. This Wolverine, I'm very excited to run to give the team some extra healing on top of their already pretty impressive healing from the X-Men team ability. A lot of these dials are pretty similar the entire way down. After they've taken 1 or 2 damage, they're basically the same way the whole way down. So being able to heal them back up onto their starting clicks means that they're back to their super useful clicks, and the ones who are potentially taking the damage from the X-Men team ability aren't even really losing that much strength. Overall, I am very, very impressed with this team. I've kind of been at least a little bit familiar with these figures as they've been spoiled over the past few months, but there's definitely one figure that I 100% will be building a team around. That is Longshot from X-Men Rise and Fall. If you do not have this figure, he's either an uncommon or a rare. He's fairly easy to pull, not very expensive, and he has rallies on opposing 5s, and when you make an attack with him, you can replace any of the dice in your attack roll with his rally die. And as far as our local judge has ruled, when Longshot replaces that 5, that is obvious, that is similar to all other replacement effects after probability controls can be used, and then the Hellfire Gala abilities can then replace the other 5. And a Longshot also automatically crits on double 5s. So pairing Longshot with some of these Hellfire Gala abilities to mass trigger all of your double 5 triggers is going to be very, very fun. I mean, I'm just excited. You're going to do that every turn when Longshot attacks. Your opponent's going to be forced to deal with Longshot or get crit and murdered every turn. For individual figures that stand out to me, the Wolverine's healing, X23's healing with the multi-targets blades is very, very interesting to me. Emma Frost's just kind of innate tankiness with her probability controls, and the Invincible, very, very entertaining. The Jean Grey's Mind Control to allow your enemy carries to hurt themselves after the Mind Control. Very, very, very funny. And Sync's on the right team, I think Sync can shine. You're not going to really be planning for those double fives, but when they come up, being able to steal any power on anybody on your team, I think can really, really, really turn the tide of battle. These other 4 back here are no slouches by any means. These 4 are just the ones that I am overly impressed with and excited to build around, especially with that long shot team. We'll have a couple teams coming out to you guys using these figures, one with just these guys, and then one with some outside influences to make sure long shot and the Hellfire Gala are making the most out of those double 5 rolls. If you like this review and you want to see more from the channel, please give us a like and subscribe. It does help please the YouTube gods. And with that one, we'll see you guys in the next video.